I open my email, and I see it right there. I already knew what it was. They had already postponed the trip twice due to COVID. I was not going to the US, I was not going to play basketball, and I was not going to fulfill on a dream that I had worked so hard on. As I stare at the words on the screen, waves of sadness, frustration, and disappointment wash over me. I had already been in lockdown and off the court for the last 4 weeks, feeling isolated and disconnected. You see, basketball is my sanctuary. I was never good in the beginning, but I was athletic, which made it fun enough to not mind not being the best. But after a while, I was a dedicated fan that had put so much time and energy into the sport and into getting better. But for me, being a part of a team is unlike anything else for me. Together, we practice and train day in, day out, from early in the morning till late at night, just to get better and perfect our craft. Together, we worked hard, played hard, and supported each other's success. It was here where I felt like I belonged. To the team, and to something bigger than me. But now, I didn't know what to do. Keep playing basketball, playing sport, but why? For what? I felt lost, like a rudderless ship. What's the point of doing anything if it's just gonna get taken away? Brené Brown is one of the world's leading researchers of human behavior and development. She is the author of 5 #1 New York Times bestsellers and has spent the past 2 decades researching courage, empathy, vulnerability, and shame. A big portion of her research shows how important belonging is to us humans. And she makes a distinction between fitting in and belonging. She says, true belonging doesn't require you to change who you are. It requires you to be who you are. It's 2018, and I'm 15 years old. I had just left all my friends behind to go to a new school. I was mad at my mum for this, so I did the only thing I could think of, and that was to shave my head. Keep in mind, my older brother and father did this at 2 a.m. after a long, wine-filled wedding, and I woke up the next day with half a head of hair. And needless to say, it was the worst haircut I've ever gotten. Rumors were spreading at the new school that the new kid, aka me, was a skinhead and had been to juvie. Allowing the rumors to be what they were, I started to befriend people. And boy, did I. I went from the cool kids to the gamers to the basketballers. I would sort of become a chameleon and fit into all of them. The basketballers were described as weird or nerdy by some of the other kids, but that didn't bother me. But you see, by fitting in to all of the other groups, I was making sure that others felt like they belonged, but I was not taking care of my own belonging. But basketball changed this. I went from a person who wanted to please everybody else to a person that wanted to be my best self. Through basketball, I found my leadership, my expression, and authentic beingness that I had never experienced before. And by not caring about what any of the other kids thought and hanging out with the basketball crowd, I moved to where I felt I belonged. I remember a time where I would have to get up early to get to practice, and I would tell myself just to stay in bed. But I would always get up and get out of bed and get to practice on time or early. I saw myself as the leader of the team, and if I didn't show up, then who would? Many times, it was just me, alone on the court. But this didn't discourage me. And eventually, the whole team was showing up for basketball practice. And after a while, we saw ourselves as not just as individuals, but as a team. And because we felt like we belonged to a bigger group than ourselves, it motivated us to get up early, to get to practice, and to not let anybody else down. This is where I felt like I belonged. It felt like me, the real me, the best me. And this was only amplified when I received news that I got accepted to go play basketball in America in the summer of 2020. I was happy, excited, ecstatic even. I thought, maybe I could be a basketball player. Finally, maybe even have a career playing basketball, belonging to basketball my whole life. But when this dream didn't happen, that sense of belonging died. And I learned that without belonging, that I could get depressed, which caused me to isolate. And the isolation caused me to feel separate. And the separation caused me to feel even more depressed. It was a self-perpetuating cycle. I had pulled back from school, family, friends, and I had even pulled back from myself. I no longer recognized myself, and others felt the same. Everybody feels belonging. Whether it's family, friends, a school, a religion, whatever, it doesn't matter. Everybody tends to have the inherent desire to feel like they are an important part of something bigger than themselves. For me, sport is what I belong to. For the most part, basketball. And that is what people knew me for, and partly what I knew myself for. Brené Brown describes belonging as being a part of something bigger than yourself, but also having the courage to stand alone and be true to yourself above all else. This is why basketball had such a profound impact of my life. I had found myself. And being a part of a team It felt good. And making something happen felt rewarding. I felt alive. In his TED Talk, Virgil Stănescu, a professional Romanian basketball player, talks about belonging to a team and how being pulled forward by a team meant so much to him. He said, "And it doesn't matter the result. It matters how you get to the result. Because if I put a medal on your neck right now, you aren't going to feel anything. Because you can go and buy one of those at the store for what? $5, whatever. But you know what I feel? I feel every little second of my life that I sweat, that I hurt, played, and sacrificed. This is going for it because you belong, being called forth to really give it your all. The sweat, the pain, the sacrifice, it all made sense when as a team, you get the reward for putting in the effort. And together, you make something happen. All of this is what I miss. I stand here in front of you all today, still trying to get my belonging back. And just like basketball, I know I need to practice. And that is what I am doing right now. I want to be the version of me that gets up when nobody else does, who chooses to lead, who sweats, who sacrifices, who really goes for it, for me and for the team. Everybody feels the desire to belong. And most people feel belonging without even realizing it. Because you only realize it when it's gone. Thank you.